pronunciation, so on and so forth, in terms of a lot of games, of course, in the previous, somehow yesterday, right? And then today, my focus, since I'm a high school teacher, I'm a senior high school teacher, so today my focus will be placed on how to apply those speaking tests, to my, senior high school, language classrooms, or EFL classrooms, okay? So, I'm sorry I didn't email my list to you guys earlier, so you could only receive the handouts just now. So today, my tasks could be very simple. My topic could be very simple. Speaking tasks and activities for senior high school English classes, okay? So, definitely, okay, do we have some teachers from Jingwu Senior High School or the top schools? Oh, I don't think so, okay? So obviously, my activities will be good for most of you, or the top schools, not for the top schools. My activities will, because I have to let you know, I also teach English to low achievers, especially, you may think, oh, Zhongzhen Senior High School, why do they have low achievers in Zhongzhen Senior High School? Yes, I have to let you know, I also teach the so-called PE talented classes, 体育班. So obviously, most of the activities are applied to those low achievers. So later, you can take a look at how I apply Toastmaster, those public speaking programs, to them. Later, you can take a look at how their English level seems to be that low, very, very low, okay? Very, very, very low, okay? But I love them so much. But they can still speak English. Okay? If my students can speak English, I think your students will definitely speak English far better, okay, than you imagine, okay? So today, I will use this kind of handout instead of the PowerPoint, okay? So today I will divide my topics into three sections. The first one is still about warm-up and pre-reading activities. Because I don't want to talk about theories, I will just tell you what kind of activities I involve into my classes, okay? We may have warm-up and pre-reading, okay? I may have some activities, some oral activities. And then for my presentation while reading, we may have some oral activities, even though some of the oral activities could be similar to the reading tasks, of course, but you still can integrate them into the English speaking activities, okay? And also interaction, visual aids, student demonstration. And also the last one, last but not least, extension activities, the after reading activities, right? I list some of the lessons right here, which you may be familiar with, right? Some of the test lessons from long-term textbooks. Some of the lessons are from Yuandong versions, and some of the lessons are from Sanming, okay, e-reader. So obviously it's very simple. And there are other kinds of activities you can include into your English classrooms, okay? So basically, even though they are not related to the textbook, but you can still do them. Okay, the first one has a lot to do with picture and photo reading, describing pictures. Of course, at the beginning of each text, of course, you have the so-called picture reading or photo reading, right? So let me show you this. Okay. So later you can understand this. Okay. So in my pre-reading activity, okay, you may have a lot of pictures. Like this, okay. For photo reading and picture reading, for example, you may give your student this kind of picture, this series of pictures like these, right? Okay. Or you may give them some pictures like these, okay, those stars, okay. Or you may offer those pictures, okay, for your students like these, okay. But why do we have to use pictures for their oral practices, okay, for their photo reading? Here, I don't just want you to pay attention to, okay, oh, this is a beautiful picture, something like that. Instead, when it comes to picture reading, there are three stages. The first one is to describe, to establish the setting first. So sometimes, if my students are given the pictures like these, okay, the settings like these, okay, for different kinds of topics. This topic has a lot to do with racism in my textbooks. Racism, obviously, okay, racism in my textbooks. Did you see that? Okay, Chinese American, African American, Native Americans, And then my students, I do not just ask them to describe the picture so easily. I will do 3 things. Number 1, establish the setting. Okay, where is the setting? Where do you think the pictures are drawn? Where? And number 2, describe the story. That's right. What is going on with the story? Okay. For example, like this. I don't want to show you the textbook, okay? Because most of you definitely have textbooks and you know what they are like. There are pictures, tons of pictures over there. I don't want to use those pictures, okay? I want to use some of the handouts I used in my class, okay? Okay. You see? And then describe what the story is like. And then the third stage will be, okay, how do you feel about the picture? What is the ideology behind the picture? Sometimes you may think, sure, my goodness, isn't that a little bit too difficult? The ideology, right? 意识形态. Is it possible for them to interpret the ideology? I always ask them to be careful about their wording because my students are low achievers. They cannot use difficult words. So sometimes they may say something like this. Okay, I may say for question number 1, establish setting. I will say, oh, where is it? And then some people may say, it's China. It's China. It's India. But I will correct them. Okay. It's Africa. I try to copy my students' speech. Okay. And then I say, okay, what is going on with the picture? What's going on with the picture? I especially show this picture when I teach. I have a dream. Remember that lesson? Okay, I have a dream. That lesson. Okay, and then I said, okay, what's wrong with the picture? And then we'll say, there is a black or blue or a black elephant. Okay, I try to copy my students' speech so you can understand. And a white man is sitting on the elephant. Okay, I asked them to number 2 stage to try to describe the picture, the story of the picture, right? And then, what about how do you feel about the picture? The ideology, okay? Ideology, critical thinking. Remember, critical thinking has already been integrated into the recent curriculum. You know that, right? Okay, so critical thinking number 3, okay? White men are bad. Black people are elephants, okay? Or are 老师，仆人怎么讲 slaves, okay? Oh, are slaves, okay? And then they will say slaves or servants or something like that. I say, wow, that's wonderful, okay? You don't have, for this kind of picture reading, most of us will say, oh, how do you feel about the picture? Oh, what is this picture like? But maybe when it comes to picture reading, maybe we can use this kind. We can actually do a lot of activities through picture reading. Establish the setting, and then number 2, describe the picture, and then the critical thinking, okay? About the ideology, okay? So something like this, okay? Something like this, okay? Okay, I don't want to show you this. However, if they are given a series of pictures, like these, okay? If I teach a lesson about a detective story, because actually in one textbook, I forgot which version, but in book 6 there is a story about a detective, okay? Okay, about a detective, okay? And then somehow I will show them this kind of picture, okay? I will show them this kind of picture, okay? However, remember, I will ask them to tell me the story. They will still use easy words. When it comes to speaking, you may say, oh, Joe, is it possible for you to cover all the lessons within 4 days or somehow in 4 classes? Come on. Even though I try to hurry to cover all the lessons, they still don't understand what is going on in my English classrooms. So why bother, covering all the lessons in just 4 classes? That's impossible, okay? Wake up, okay? Okay, thank you. So, I'm sorry, I'm trying to use myself as an example, as an illustration, sorry. And then, however, somehow for the ending, this is number 6, right? I will somehow erase the picture, and then I will let them do the critical thinking to think of an open-ended, story, okay? But you can use this for your